Good evening, everyone. We're going to wait about 5 more minutes, and then we're going to start our 2024 Southern Avenue presentation. Again, good evening, everyone. I want to be mindful of everyone's time. So again, my name is Daria Davis. Welcome to the District of Department of Transportation's 2024 Southern Avenue Southeast Phase 1 Roadway and Safety Improvement Project presentation for tonight. We have a couple house rules that we would like to share before the meeting gets underway. This project, first, welcome to our virtual public meeting. This project here, no worries. This project here will run from South Capitol Street to Barnaby Road Southeast intersections. This will be a virtual public meeting. To make a few notes, this open meeting is required by the DC Code 2-578. This meeting is being recorded and the recording will be made available to the public. The video file with both audio and video will be shared on the project team's website, and DDOT's YouTube recording will be available to the public. The YouTube channel is youtube.com/DDOT-videos, and it will be there within 7 days of the meeting ending. It will also be live streamed on DDOT's Facebook page at facebook.com/DDOT-DC. If you do not wish to be recorded, please do not speak. If you have any questions or comments, we will look at those and review those shortly. And for any technical difficulties, the phone number is there that you can call during the meeting at 202-997-8354. This is a WebEx meeting with audio and video, and here on the screen, you can see how you can unmute and mute yourself. Everyone will be on mute. You cannot unmute yourself until the end of the meeting. There will be a question and answer period at the end, and there is also a raise your hand feature. There will be closed caption. It's automatic generated. I'm so sorry. There's an icon at the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. And then you can read the bullets right there and explain fully what you need to do. And all videos are off by default. Again, there's a raise your hand. If you follow the picture on the screen, it'll show you how to do that. To virtually raise your hand, click the raise your hand icon at the bottom center of the WebEx window, and then follow the directions you see here in the presentation. If you are dialing in, you dial *3 to raise your hand, to use the raise your hand function. Again, question and answers. It's the same thing. Click the 3-dot icon to select question and answer. If you want to join via your browser, click the question and answer or the question mark icon. And then if you're calling in, you hit dial *3 for that same raise your hand function. If you have any comments or questions on the presentation, you send it via the chat. We will discuss all the chat questions at the end of the presentation. So team introductions from DDOT. The program manager is David. He will not be here tonight, but we will have John Gomes here tonight. He will be speaking for us. From ACOM, we have Shamir, and we also have Nick. And again, I am Daria, Public Outreach Coordinator from CSMI. I'm going to turn it over to John, and he's going to give you a little history and background regarding the project.
Hi, good evening, everybody. I'm John Gomez, DDOT Project Manager for the reconstruction of Southern Avenue Phase 1 segment, which is in between South Capitol Street to Barnaby Road, and is currently undergoing 100% redesign in order to eliminate a vital design element from the previous design, which was completed in 2015. And this was the reason for elimination. The redesign was an opposition for some vital design elements opposed by the Prince George's County. So we got to redesign it right now in Phase 1, and we are at the 100% completion. And probably by end of October, we will be completing the final PSNE for construction for Phase 1. This project also includes a bridge rehabilitation at the intersection of South Capitol Street over Winky Doodle Branch. Our primary objective of this project is to mitigate safety along Southern Avenue corridor due to high unsafe road conditions with high crash rates resulting in fatal injuries. The proposed roadway plan for Phase 1 segment will address all safety concerns and implement other roadway features that are necessary for smooth and safe vehicular and pedestrian movements. The Phase 1 segment will then tie into Phase 2 segment in a smooth transition from Barnaby Road to Medical Center Drive, which has recently been constructed before Phase 1, mainly to address some immediate critical safety issues over there, especially at the hospital crossings. So Samir, can you take it over from this point?
Yeah, sure. Thanks much, John and Daria. And once again, my name is Samir Shukla, and I'm the project manager from AECOM, the company who is providing the design services to DDOT on this project. And on behalf of DDOT, once again, I take the opportunity to thank everybody for taking time and attending the meeting. For agenda, in successive slides, we will talk about the project background. John has already highlighted that, some of the project goals, and the existing challenge. Our presentation is designed in a way that we will talk about the challenges along the entire section of this Southern Avenue corridor, that is from South Capitol Street to Barnaby Road. We will talk about the overall project impacts on buses, pedestrians, and traffic signals, the major element of design that John just mentioned. And then we will dive into a little bit more detail, talking about 4 main intersections that are located in the project, starting from southwest terminus, which is South Capitol Street intersection going north to 60th Street, Galveston Street, and Barnaby Road. Another major element of the design in the project is the improvement to South Capitol Street bridge over Winkle-Doodle Branch, and we'll talk about that also a little bit more in detail during this presentation. We'll discuss and talk about the project benefits for the community, the next steps related to this project, and then we'll open the floor for Q&A session. So the first slide is kind of, it shows the project scope or the project limit, as John mentioned, from the southwest terminus from South Capitol Street, going all the way north to Barnaby Road here. That's the limit of the project, which is called the Phase 1 project. There are several places of public interest located within this section of the Southern Avenue corridor, starting from Ingenuity Prep Public Charter School here, adjacent to Livingston Road. We have Mary Virginia Merrick Recreation Center, closer to 6th Street. And then further closer to Southern Avenue, we have a gas station at the intersection of South Capitol and Southern Avenue. And then we have Livingston Place, assisted living condos, post office here, several townhouses located adjacent along Southern Avenue on north side of the roadway. Going south in Maryland, as you can see, the solid blue line is the border between Washington, D.C. and Maryland. In Maryland, we have Foreman Mills department store here. The project is located, as I said, at the boundary of Washington, D.C. and Maryland, this solid blue line. Some major elements, again, is Winkle-Doodle Bridge. There is an open channel located adjacent to pretty much all along this section of the corridor, adjacent to the roadway. And we have this Winkle-Doodle Bridge that carries South Capitol Street over channel, and we are rehabilitating that bridge. There is another small pedestrian bridge right across Galveston Street that connects Southern Avenue corridor with folks living in Maryland here in this area. And there are several buses stop. This section between this block between 6th Street and South Capitol is a major transit area where close to 7 buses operate. And we have 3 bus stops on north side and 3 bus stops south side between 6th and South Capitol. And I'll talk a little bit more in detail. We are consolidating 2 of them to 1 stop closer to the intersection. The next slide, why are these updates occurring here? So this section of Southern Avenue Southeast is identified as a Tier 1 street segment in the high injury network. That means this section or this segment of Southern Avenue has been identified as the highest priority section for safety improvements. And that comes from DDOT's DC's Vision Zero Action Plan 2022 update. There were several studies done along this corridor, starting from a traffic engineering study several years ago, followed by 2016-2021 DDOT injury and fatality crash data analysis that John just mentioned, which actually resulted in identifying this section as the highest priority for the safety improvements. We have completed the environment study for the corridor, and here we are today talking about the final construction document development, final design development, so that we can get started with the construction middle of next year. The goals, as again, John already highlighted, the goals of the project are to improve safety, mobility, and accessibility for all road users that include pedestrians, transit riders, transit buses, as well as the vehicular traffic and drivers. And how do we achieve these goals? So in our design, we approached the mitigation measures and kind of highlighted them in these two blue boxes here. The first approach in mitigating these concerns is to reduce the conflict between pedestrian and drivers along the corridor, and then implement traffic calming measures. In terms of the reduction of conflicts between pedestrian and drivers, we are proposing high visibility crosswalks at all intersections, all 4 intersections. We are constructing pedestrian refuse areas at all intersections. We are eliminating right turns on red, introducing rectangular rapid flashing beacon that is called RRFB at Galveston Street Southeast intersection for the pedestrian crossing. And we are we are actually providing new signalized intersection at 6th Street with the controlled pedestrian crossing. In order to achieve our goal of traffic calming, we are doing the center line hardening, and I will talk about that a little bit more in detail in the next slides. Enhancing the signal timings for both intersections, South Capitol Street and 6th Street. Doing the road diet, that means eliminating the number of lanes at certain sections of the corridor to minimize or to reduce the vehicular speed along the corridor, and designing some movement restrictions for the vehicular traffic at some of the intersections. So as I mentioned, in terms of the bigger picture for the entire project, this slide talks about the current challenges along this entire section of the Southern Avenue corridor. So we have seen vehicle and transit conflicts, as you can see on this picture, which is looking towards the roadway from South Capitol Street intersection. There is traffic congestion and the conflicts between the buses and the vehicular traffic, unsafe pedestrian movement and crossings at all intersections, substandard size walks and turning radii at certain sections of the project. The one on this picture is at the corner of the bridge looking towards Maryland side, and the deteriorated condition of the Winkle-Doodle Bridge that carries South Capitol Street at the end of the project. Again, for the entire corridor, our approach to mitigate these concerns are vehicle transit. For the vehicle transit conflicts, we have designed a dedicated bus dwelling area, and I will show that again during the presentation. We have reset the bus shelter at south side of the street near the intersection. We signalized the 6th Street intersection. We introduced the left turn restriction at Galveston Street. For the unsafe pedestrian crossing, we propose RRFB, as I mentioned earlier, at Galveston Street Southeast intersection. We have designed high visibility crosswalks at all intersections. We upgraded the pedestrian ramps and signals for ADA compliance. And we design in a way to shorten the crosswalk distances by adding median refuge areas at certain intersections. For the substandard sidewalk and turning radii, we are reconstructing the sidewalks for the entire corridor, widening the sidewalk at existing pinch points to meet the DDOT design guidelines for the ADA compliance, and reconfiguring the turning radii at some of the intersection to make the vehicle movements and better. And again, for the Winkle-Doodle Bridge, we are rehabilitating the bridge to extend the lifespan. This slide again shows the bigger picture along this entire corridor for the Southern Avenue, this section of the Southern Avenue corridor. On the left side of my screen is South Capitol Street, and this is Barnaby Road. So enhanced street lighting, we have provided the new street light for the entire section. Replacement of fence, that's another major element of design. The fence in this area is in bad shape, the fence between the sidewalk and the open channel. So we are replacing this entire fence here. ADA compliance, making all sidewalk and crosswalk compliant to the ADA design standards. Consolidation of bus stop, as I mentioned, these two bus stops, and I will talk again more in detail, are consolidated to one bus stop closer to the intersection. Not even a stop, it is more like a long bus dwelling area. Another major element of design is that we provided to and from access to the US Post Office, which is currently not there. So that access we introduced in this design. We have provided the new stormwater management facilities and improved the drainage system for the entire section here. Enhance the intersections. Again, I will talk more in detail when we discuss these intersections. We have enhanced the safety and the design of these intersections. We are replacing the sidewalk, curb, and gutter on either side of the roadway, providing landscaping and bioretention areas at certain section of the corridor, improving the traffic safety for the entire corridor, and reconstructing the pavement from Barnaby to the South Capitol Street. This slide shows the lane configuration, the proposed cross sections, that is more like lane configurations at three major locations along this corridor. The first section is at the South Capitol Street intersection. As you can see, going north, going from intersection towards north, we have the bus only lane, which is the bus dwelling area, and one northbound lane. And at the intersection, inner lane is left turn only lane, and the outer lane is shared through and right turn lane at South Capitol Street, intersection adjacent to gas station here. The second one is median left turn access to and from post office. In front of the post office, again, one northbound lane and the median lane to provide access to and from post office, and then two lane coming down south towards the intersection, South Capitol Street intersection. And the third section shows the median hardening from Galveston Street to 6th Street. Again, there is one northbound lane, and in the middle of the roadway, we call it the median, the center line hardening, where we provided the delineators and concrete blocks. And at 6th Street, we have two lanes, two through lanes and one shared through and right lane at 6th Street intersection. In terms of the bus improvements, there is no change in bus routes. As I said, there are close to 6 routes that operate at this section, at this block of the corridor. We are keeping those as is. There is minor shift in bus stop locations. That means the consolidation that I mentioned earlier. We are providing the dedicated bus dwelling area along northbound Southern Avenue Southeast, close to the South Capitol Street intersection. And we are tying back this design to already completed Southern Avenue Phase 2, close to the Barnaby Road intersection. Another major element of design in this project is the improvement in the existing signals, as well as proposing the new signal. The red dot here shows the existing signalized intersections, and the yellow dot is for the unsignalized intersection. Again, if we start from South Capitol Street, that is currently a signalized intersection. And then we have 6th Street here, which is an unsignalized intersection. Galveston Street, again unsignalized, and Barnaby Road, again an unsignalized intersection. In the existing condition, we do not have any rectangular rapid flashing beacon RRFBs. In the final design, when in the build condition, we have two signal control intersection. We introduce a new signal at 6th Street intersection over here, and of course improve the South Capitol Street intersection. At Galveston Road, we have introduced an RRFP, rectangular rapid flashing beacon for the pedestrian crossing. And at Barnaby Road, it's still an unsignalized intersection where it ties back to the Southern Avenue Phase 2. Current challenges at South Capitol Street intersection. So now we talked about the corridor, and now we dwell a little bit more in detail for each of these intersections, starting with the South Capitol Street. So as I mentioned earlier, constrained sidewalk space and inadequate turning radii on top of the bridge. That's one of the major concerns here. Unsafe, non-compliant crossings. As you can see in the existing condition on the bridge, there is unsafe crosswalk with no ADA lamps, and unsafe, confusing vehicle movement at this intersection, especially for vehicles which are coming down to South Capitol Street intersection, trying to make a left turn on Indian Head Highway or right turn on South Capitol Street. So this rendering shows the proposed design. We have upgraded the traffic signal system at this intersection. We have provided the lead pedestrian intervals for the pedestrians at all legs of this intersection. Upgraded the crosswalk to show high visibility markings at all 4 legs of the intersection. We have widened the sidewalk at the pinch areas. We have another major element is to provide the ADA compliant pedestrian ramp on bridge at this at the intersection of across the Indian Head Highway. And then we are rehabilitating the bridge, Winkle-Doodle Bridge here, and also have improved the turning radii at this pinch point, at this pinch corner of the intersection. This is a bird eye view again of the same configuration that I mentioned and talked about in the previous slide, that shows how the entire area is going to look like, along with some of the neighboring houses and the department store. And as you can see, this is the proposed bus dwelling area here close to the intersection. Going to the next intersection, that is 6th Street Southeast intersection. Again, this intersection lacks the pedestrian facilities. There's unsafe turns for 6th Street drivers for both coming out of 6th Street or making a right turn or left turn on 6th Street. And in the existing condition, there's a bus stop which is inside of the intersection, as you can see on this picture. That's the intersection. We have a bus stop which is located within the intersection. In our proposed design, as you can see, we have first of all provided the new traffic signal system at this 6th Street intersection. We have provided we have upgraded the crosswalk with high visibility pavement marking, hardened the center line, as I mentioned earlier, all the way from 6th Street to Galveston Road. We have provided the new pedestrian refuge area at this intersection here, provided the new ADA compliant pedestrian ramps, new pedestrian crossing on south side of the intersection. And with this new traffic signal, we provided the lead pedestrian intervals for the safer crossing of pedestrians. This white bus shows the existing bus stop, which is within this intersection in this area, has been relocated to the bus dwelling area near the South Capitol Street intersection. And this again is a bird eye view of the final design elements at 6th Street intersection here, with some of the post office, surrounding houses, and some part of Maryland. The next intersection is Galveston Street Southeast intersection. Again, we have seen unsafe movement for Galveston Street drivers here, uncontrolled crossing for the pedestrians across South Capitol Street as well as Galveston, and retaining wall degradation. This retaining wall that we have here in this slide, there's a pedestrian bridge that connects, that I mentioned, that connects Maryland community, Maryland, folks living in Maryland to South Capitol Street, Southern Avenue corridor. And this pedestrian bridge has a retaining wall there, which is a safety hazard, not just for the pedestrians who are using the bridge, but also for the pedestrians who are on sidewalks. So we are rehabilitating this retaining wall also as part of this project. In terms of the improvement, we have provided the new RRFB signal system here at this intersection. Restricted the Galveston Street movement to right in, right out by providing the median centerline hardening here, created the new refuse area for pedestrian, provided the new crosswalk high visibility marking. And as I mentioned earlier, we are rehabilitating this retaining wall here. As you can see on this image, that's the pedestrian bridge that connects folks from Maryland to South Capitol Southern Avenue corridor. And again, that's a bird eye view of the final configuration here at Galveston Street. This is 6th Street. That's the centerline hardening, and that's the pedestrian bridge and improvement to the retaining wall at this corner over here. The last intersection, which is the end of the project, is Barnaby Road intersection. We have long pedestrian crossing. This picture shows the Barnaby Road coming onto the Southern Avenue, and as you can see, there is long pedestrian crossing. So we eliminated the pedestrian crossing issue and redesigned this area. There is only single Southern Avenue Southeast Street crossing for the pedestrian at this intersection, and we have found that inadequate drainage and the capacity of the existing drainage structures is low, so we improved that as well as part of this design. Again, this slide shows the improvement at this intersection. We have removed that right turn slip lane that I showed in the previous slide, and by doing so, we have realigned the intersection to provide shorter crossing for pedestrian and traffic calming in this area. We have created a green open space at this area, provided new ADA compliant pedestrian ramps, new crosswalk with high visibility pavement marking on either side of the intersection. And then we tie back to Southern Avenue Phase 2 here at this intersection, which Phase 2 is already almost completed now. And that's again a bird eye view where it shows the improvement to the intersection and how it goes and ties back north of this intersection to the Southern Avenue Phase 2, a little bit beyond my screen over here. Another major element, as I mentioned on the screen, we have this Winkle-Doodle Bridge that carries South Capitol Street over Winkle-Doodle Branch. So we, as part of the rehabilitation to extend the lifespan, we are doing the abutment phase reconstruction. We are doing the deck joint elimination and reconstruction on top of the bridge, and we are milling and overlay the deck at this area. Similarly, this is the retaining wall at the DC side downstream of the bridge, and to address the current discovered issues, we are removing the existing retaining wall and putting the new retaining wall over there, installing the new riprap for the channel protection in this area. And this slide shows a little artist impression or the artist rendering of how the rehabilitation will look like in this area with the retaining wall and the slope protection downstream of the bridge. And this is the proposed retaining wall at Barnaby run that I mentioned before. As you can see, the existing slope protection is providing temporary slope stability. This white block here is an existing slope protection because of the severe scour that happened recently there. In the proposed design, we will provide the new post and panel retaining wall that will address any potential erosion issues in the future. And we'll also install the new concrete slope protection in this area to protect the pedestrian both on sidewalk as well as on the pedestrian bridge. And this is another rendering that would show the improved or the rehabilitated and retaining wall and the slope protection in this area over here. So that was the presentation. That was the discussion on major design elements in the project. Now, in terms of the next steps, of course, we will open the floor for Q&A. As the timeline is concerned, the preliminary design was completed last year in 2023, and we are approaching, or we are trying to complete the 100% design construction document by the fall of this year, in next few months, with an aim to start the construction early summer in 2025, and followed by the full construction by summer of 2026. So that's a little timeline of the project. And another quick note that, of course, we'll take questions now during this meeting. At the same time, if there are any questions, public can submit the questions to this email address, nick.blom@aecom. Nick Blom is a civil engineer with AECOM, and we request public to submit all their questions before October 1st, 2024. And with that, I will hand it over back to Daria to take public questions.
Again, thank you, everyone. According to Title 6, we have a survey that we would like everyone to take. If you just scan that QR code, you can take that survey. And this is just some demographic information that we would like to collect. But to go over to the chat, we do see some questions that are already in. And please, we welcome the community to put in as many questions as needed. So the first one comes from Michael Shaw. And it said, he did not see that, did we get any community input on this project?
So I can start answering this, and then John, if you want, you can chime in. As in the very beginning, we mentioned that this is more like a redesign of the project that was completed in 2017, 2018. So a public meeting was held during the design of that project. But as I said, and as John also highlighted, that in that project we were decking over the channel, as well as we were improving or replacing the bridge, and both those options are gone because there was not approved by Prince George's County. So this project is a little smaller version of that design, with most of the features within the roadway that have been kept as is as before. I wouldn't say all of them, but most of the features are kept as is as before. So yeah, so that's where we stand with the public input. We had the input in previous meetings, and some of the inputs in terms of the public complaints for the sidewalk, public complaints regarding the non-ADA compliant crosswalks. We took those complaints from those previous meetings and have implemented the resolution for them in this design. John, if anything you want to add on top of that.
I think you are correct in what you said. We had a public meeting during our previous design in 2015, I think. Yeah, 2016. But all those has been addressed in the current design right now. I think we haven't had any issues with public input that has not been unaddressed so far.
Correct.
Question is from KT Bay. It says, why is there a need to restrict the left turn from Southern Avenue onto Galveston Street Southeast? This impedes the resident homeowners' access to their home when traveling northbound on Southern Avenue and makes them have to go out of their way to turn onto their street. XX driving uses gas, which the city is not giving gas vouchers for. It's not necessary. Providing an additional dedicated left turn lane onto Galveston Street would be a better solution. I have brought this matter up to those over this board previously.
So no, that's a great question, and we as designers, engineers, and planners, we did a lot of due diligence when we talked about this, and one of the main reasons of closing that left turn in and out from Galveston is that we introduced a new signalized intersection at 6th Street, which is just one block from Galveston. So our effort is to divert all the traffic to 6th Street, and that way we minimize the number of conflicts at Galveston for the left turn movement. Because right now, the people, if someone wants to make a left turn coming from South Capitol to Galveston, and that person, that driver will halt the traffic there, at the same time create another conflict situation. And the same goes for the people who are trying to make a left from Galveston onto northbound Southern Avenue. Our study based on traffic analysis showed that we wouldn't say that no houses are impacted. There is impact to some of the houses over there, but considering the overall safety of the corridor as well as the safety of the drivers, living in those houses, we found it a better option to do the median hardening and diverting the traffic to 6th Street, which is now a signalized intersection, and give the opportunity for a safe left turn movement for all drivers from Southern Avenue to 6th Street, as well as from 6th to Southern Avenue.
Okay, we have another question from Bay. He also says, has anyone on this project committee actually driven these corridors multiple times of the day to see the true to life traffic patterns that occur in this area? It seems like the amount of traffic flow has not been taken into consideration with these designs.
So I would say yes. Our team of traffic engineers have been traveling this section during our study phases. We have also installed the camera to collect the traffic counts recently. I think late last year, we have collected the traffic count and have seen the traffic patterns in this area, especially at 6th Street, Galveston Street, and South Capitol Street intersection. And our design is based on the issues, as I highlighted earlier, to eliminate several of these conflicting movements and the congestion along the corridor. So the signal enhancement in the signal timing that I mentioned, that comes from the recent traffic count that we had a few months ago along the corridor. And based on that, public will see the new traffic timing at South Capitol Street, improved signal. Based on the same reason as I mentioned, we have introduced a new signal also at 6th Street intersection. That's again is based on the study and finding of our traffic analysis. And the same goes for the RRFP that we introduced at Galveston Street. So our design, as I said, is focused on improving the safety for the pedestrian, not just for the vehicular traffic, but for the pedestrian accessibility and safety of pedestrians and the transit riders in this section of the corridor. That has been also taken into account when we design these intersections. And I can I can tell you one more thing, that our signal phasing and the new signals are designed in a way that improve slightly, that I wouldn't say that completely eliminate any of the congestion, because we are restricted with the right of way, with the bridge, and with the Maryland border in the area. But we have improved slightly the traffic congestion with this new signal timing at South Capitol Street intersection.
Okay, we have a question from Benny Williams. He asks, why not extend the project to Bonini Road?
Yeah, that's a good question. And as a team, I would say we are familiar. The question was raised, some of the houses getting hit by straight cars at Bonini Road intersection. So that intersection, as I mentioned earlier, is already kind of improved and constructed as part of the Southern Avenue Phase 2 design. And new pavement marking has already been installed there. The drainage improvement is done. That Barnaby Road intersection itself, the Owens Road intersection, has been improved significantly in that corridor. So I'm not sure if DDOT has any plan to extend this project further up north to Bonini.
Yes,
Sorry, go ahead.
we have the third phase planned from Medical Center Drive to 23rd Street. So I think that covers Bonini. Yeah.
Bonini is, John.
Or it's in phase 2.
It's in phase 2, yeah.
Phase 2, right? Yeah. So I think it's covered in the phase 2, whatever is needed. Because I was not involved in the phase 2 part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this is done, and I think some residents there still has, John, some problem. There was an email that we received from the residents there, especially, some stray cars that are hitting some of the houses in that corner of Bonini and Southern Avenue. So I get that. That is kind of maybe it could be a separate issue to talk about further in detail, but I'm not sure if DDOT would be willing to extend this project to eliminate some of those issues at Bonini that still exist.
Well, that can be done in a separate project.
Correct.
It's not within this phase 1 because we are already delayed.
Yeah.
Don't have any more questions in the chat. Do we have any more residents with questions? If not, we're going to turn it back over to Shamir and John for closing.
Daria, there are some questions on the Q&A session.
Them, Nick.
Sorry, Nick, do we have more questions?
Yeah, we have a couple of questions in the Q&A section. There's the chat and the Q&A separately, so I can go over those. I think Michael Shaw had a question that we covered early on about.
Oh yeah, I see him now. Okay, I see him. We're in a hearing. Yeah, I see him. Michael Shaw had another one. I believe the design will hinder the flow of traffic and cause more accidents.
Sorry, Nick, I didn't get that. What's the question there?
He said he believes that this design would hinder the flow of traffic and cause more accidents.
If there is any particular design element, we can definitely discuss that, and if they want to share the question in writing, we can take closer look on any of the particular design element. But as I said, our effort is in fact to minimize and reduce any of those conflict, as I said, by eliminating the left turns at Galloway. We minimize the conflict point. by introducing new signalized intersection. Again, we streamlined the traffic flow there because now each leg will have their own time to make turns at 60th Street intersection. At Barnaby, again, we realigned the Barnaby Road intersection that now intersects Southern Avenue at more or less perpendicular. That again makes the traffic flow slower and smoother there. For the South Capitalist Street intersection, again, we have not significantly because there is space constraint, but at the bridge corner, we have improved the turning radii. At 60th Street, there was another major element of design, especially for the buses, which are coming down Southern Avenue, trying to make a right on 60th Street. And if there was a car stopped close to the stop bar, the cars, and we found that in our video, as I mentioned, we had several video recording of the corridor as well. Car had to either go back on 6th Street or maybe come up on 6th and Galveston Street. So we identified that issue and we improved the turning radii for the buses also on that road, moved the stop bar a little back there, again eliminating any conflict. Another major element we heard from public was the the island at Barnaby Road intersection, which was part of the Southern Avenue Phase 2 design. And for the sake of visibility, we have removed that island and provided the delineators and concrete blocks there. That again improves significantly and reduce actually the chances of crashes and accidents. So we really did a lot of due diligence in improving the overall safety at this section. Again, not just for the pedestrians and the transit riders, but for the vehicular traffic as well. So having said that, as I said, if there are any issue that they want to highlight, please submit that in writing, and we'll make sure that we address that and answer that a little bit more in detail.
That was also Michael's question. He said the island at Barnaby and Southern Avenue was put there and over a year ago, and there was over 100 accident cars running into the concrete island. His house is right there at the corner. The design is terrible.
Here you go. I mean, we accept that, and that island has been put there to as part of the traffic calming, but we heard it from public that it causing accident and crashes because of the visibility. So we removed that, and now we are providing high visibility delineators in that area that certainly will eliminate and reduce any crashes at that intersection.
Last statement from him was the design at Galveston not allowing a left-hand turn is terrible. You merge Barnaby and Galveston could have been included. So the design not allowing a left-hand turn is terrible. You merge Barnaby and Galveston could have been included. And then he says the island is still there. Last Thanksgiving, there were 9 accidents.
So Galveston, I mean, as I mentioned, from the engineering point of view, we still think that it significantly reduces the conflict points by not having a left turn for that little block there. Again, I know that there are several townhomes, people live there, but overall safety of the corridor kind of guides us to block that left turn and divert the traffic to 6th Street intersection, which now is a signalized intersection. So I might probably repeat again there, the effort we have as engineers and designers, planners, after they study is to divert all the traffic to this new 6th Street signalized intersection and minimize the conflict point. Again, I would say again that even if there is one car stopped, coming from South Capitol Street trying to make a left turn on Galveston will block the traffic, and the traffic flow, especially in peak hour, is terrible there, and we don't want that to happen. And the same goes for the people who are trying to make. Again, we had traffic numbers also, and those numbers are very, very insignificant in terms of the people who are making those left turns.
Somebody asked in the chat, will you install a traffic light at 6th Street because it is a bus route?
Yes, that's one of the major element of the design. We are installing new traffic signal at 6th Street.
They also asked if you had created dedicated left turn lanes for all the streets, could that have been a consideration?
So again, we, as part of the design, on behalf of DDOT, we can ensure that we have analyzed close to 15 to 20 alternatives, and several of them did include the left turn lanes. Now, we have to remember that we are working within the restricted, the right of way. We have channel on one side, we have houses on the other side, and then we have to widen the sidewalk also to make it ADA compliant. So there is no way we could have added another left turn lanes. We did try at certain intersection, and we have included left turns like for the Barnaby Road intersection as well as for 6th Street intersection. So we have those at intersections and South Capitol Street too. I totally understand that public is a little concerned there with Galveston Street not having a left turn, but based on, again, the findings and based on the number of cars that today are making that left turn, for the safety of the entire corridor, it is recommended not to have that.
And I think it has been, your traffic analysis is based on the most recent traffic data that you took.
That's exactly correct.
That,
and
I would say that gives you the design of the Galveston not to take left turn.
yes, that's
It
correct.
emphasizes your traffic analysis based on the recent data.
That's exactly correct. And Surafal, if you remember when we collected the traffic count, that was very recent, and we found, based on our videos installed at that intersection, that very, very insignificant number of cars are making that left turn. And for that left turn, if we put that one car making a left turn, it significantly result in congestion along the corridor, especially in peak hours, morning and evening peak hours.
One last chat, maybe two. Can you expand on the study regarding the flow of traffic from Galveston Street onto Southern Avenue? The flow of traffic going into Galveston Street from Southern Avenue.
So, not sure, Surafal, if you want to take a stab at it real quick based on our findings of the traffic counts and videos. I think the question again is that we didn't allow the left turns onto and from Galveston to Southern Avenue. Surafal, you there?
Yes, I'm here. Yes, so while observing the video footage, and we also had field visits that we conducted to the corridor, we witnessed a lot of vehicles having a cut through Galveston to get to Southern Avenue, and a lot of them were big trucks that were going through Galveston to travel towards Southern Avenue northbound. And this not only affects the traffic, but it's also dangerous because there will be a T-bone crash. So we decided to make this a right in, right out intersection and implement the signalization at 6th Street to make it not only safer for the drivers, but also for the residents of Galveston. So we believe that this will make Galveston a lot safer and also Southern Avenue safer.
Great. Thanks, Rafa.
Only a few more comments, no more questions. I'll turn it back over to you, Shamir, and
Okay.
John, closing remarks.
Yeah, no, before I hand it over to John, no, once again, thank you so very much to all of you for taking time to attend this presentation. And as I mentioned, public can still send their questions to nick.blom@aecom. Before October 1st, and make sure that we study those questions, and if we can, we will implement that, or we will answer those questions to public. And with that, I will hand it over to John for the concluding
Samir,
remark.
I think there's a question about the island at Barnaby, where it says who said the island at Barnaby was removed. So it's just to reiterate, we're not saying that it is removed out in the field right now. It's being removed in this proposed design. So once this design is implemented, it's going to be removed, and the delineators will be installed instead of the island.
Sorry if it created a confusion, but yeah, that's right. The existing condition has island there, but in our proposed design, we remove the island and provide the high visibility delineators. Correct. Thanks, Rafa. And with that, hand it over to John Gomez for the concluding remark.
Well, thank you all for attending the meeting. We have discussed about our latest achievement on the phase 2 part of this Southern Avenue. Phase 1 part of this Southern Avenue. So if you have any questions, you can just send it to us, to Nick, by October the 1st. And I think it's going to be a safer way of doing things that we do right now. I would say if you have any questions, just let us know.
All right, sounds good. Back to you, Daria. We can, I think, conclude now.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for all my residents that came out. You asked very, very good questions, informative questions to help our community. I also do live in this community, so thank you for asking the questions that I couldn't ask tonight. I look forward to seeing you all in the community, and please send your questions and comments to this email address here. I put it in the chat as well, nick.blom@acom.com. Please get them in before the 1st of October. And if you see me in the community, stop me, say hi, keep the questions coming, and I look forward to seeing you all. Please, everyone, have a great night tonight.
Thanks, everybody. Have a good night. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.